Hey everybody, it's Darce. Guess what? I had some bench time. It's an opportunity to do some bench work, or not bench work, but work on my stuff on my workbench. And this is something I started about 2 weeks ago, and it was a DCC conversion of one of these Proto P1K Bud RDC locomotives. Motor on one side. One of the clubs where I do operations at, Southern Indiana, we are looking at incorporating a couple different Bud RDCs for passenger service so that we could run multiple, not a full-on passenger train, but have somebody run a car around every once in a while, do some stops and stuff like that to get in the way of operations, make things a little more interesting. So I've been looking at these for about 6 months. I managed to pick this one up from my buddy Dennis Ron up at a train show, and this one was, I think, 25 bucks. And the problem is that the board is not a DCC ready plug-in board. The model's DCC ready. You just got to do a bunch of stuff to it. And I have another one that I'm putting on the bench, and so then, if you go to Tony's Train Exchange, look at some of the instructions out there. They tell you how to, solder a couple different things. And I took a little bit of a different turn on doing this. I actually desoldered all the components that are on there and just used this as a base. And then I ended up putting in one of these NCE DASR4 or DASRs, which should be able to handle things. I like using NCE as my non-sound decoder for 9-pin plugins or for hardwires, and I thought I'd try it for this. Lately I've been doing a lot of the ESU loc pilots, especially the 4.0s, for 8-pin plugins and for 21 pins, simply because they have the Railcom stuff in there. If I ever decided that was the way I wanted to go, that's built into the decoder. I could go down the line. So a couple other things I did. Of course, I went to LEDs, and for those of you who don't know, Amazon and eBay are your best bets to get these things. I ended up getting like 20 warm white 5mm LEDs with resistors already soldered in, ready to rock and roll. And I think I want to pay. I paid like $8 for 20 of them. Now there's competitors out there. I think retail are 15 or 16 dollars a piece, but so basically less than 50 cents an LED, which was a good deal. And the one other thing I did was I actually put some cabin lights in down here, and I'll light those up here in a second. But so I've been buying these off of eBay, these rolls of LEDs, eBay for a year. You use them in groups of 3. And they work pretty good for lighting buildings as well as passenger cars here. In this case, it was just soldering 6 lights, a stretch of 6 lights to one of the other functions on the decoder, which has given me, the ability to light up my interior, which is really cool. So anyway, I don't know how long the sticky tape on the back is going to last. I do believe I used some hot glue too, just to make sure that things are okay. A couple different things that I've noticed on these models. The windows have been popping out, and then the glue, I don't know when these were made, probably 18 years ago, 15 years ago or something. So they kind of I'm sure the glue's dried out, and so I had to glue in one side window. I kind of goofed that up a little bit. You can see that over there. It's not really a good job, but it happens. And well, I'm not the best modeler, but I'm doing what I can. Anyways, and then of course, the headlights, really nice. In here, up at the top. Now I don't know enough about the prototype. And of course, we're in the back. And of course, I got some flickering light, and I'm going to take the shell back off again and try and figure out what's going on with that. Maybe I might even have to put a keep alive or something like that in there. But it's just that light strip, so it could be a bad soldering connection too, but I'll take a look at that. I'm using the end of the roll there, which had a couple leads. I might need to do something about that. Once it gets going, it gets going. So, it sounds a little loud. I probably need to get it oiled, greased, get going, but not bad for, cutting it over to DCC and getting it up and running. And I got one more. That's where I got this board from. I got one more of these. So again, all I did was I, desoldered all the components basically put one of these other boards on top. I use some tape on top just to make sure things were, you know, not touching, no traces kind of going on. And then I started wiring from the trucks and all the. I use the existing wiring. I'm not that particular on that. I won't redo all of the pickups or anything like that unless I absolutely have to. But it turned out pretty good. Hopefully it'll give us some good runtime at the club, and it was fun to do. These things are. Like I said, I got a B&O over there that's a little bit different. Will probably even end up letting me light up more of the cabin that way. Interesting how they built these, each one just a little bit different. Anyways, all right, well, thanks for tuning in and listening to my annoying voice and stuff, but this one's in the books, pretty much. One more time apart, and I think I got it. All right, have a good day. Bye.